Good evening, everybody. I'll call this regular council meeting to order for April the 22nd, 2025. Be it resolved that the agenda for the April 22nd, 2025 regular meeting of council be adopted. Moved by Councillor Powell, seconded by Councillor Bobick. All in favor? It's carried. Deputy Mayor Moriaux is not able to attend tonight, and our other two councillors are on their leaves right now. I believe that we have CFO Gnida attending by Zoom.
Correct.
Be it resolved that the minutes of the April 1st, 2025 regular council meeting be approved. Moved by Councillor Whyte, seconded by Councillor Bobick. Discussion. Any changes, any errors? All in favor? It's carried. Okay, under delegations and receptions and hearings, we have with us tonight our Staff Sergeant Swan River, RCMP, Mr. Steve Henson. Come forward. And welcome.
Thank you. Good evening. The first thing I'm going to do is just compare the stats of this first quarter, January, February, March, or this last quarter, I should say, and with the same in 2024. If you look at the total numbers, it's kind of in the ballpark. We're just a little bit of a slower start with total numbers this last quarter. And I've noticed with the assaults and some of the other criminal code offenses, they're kind of in the ballpark. It's kind of a trend, it's no big surprise. And continuing with this quarter of January, February, March, the one that just passed. In crime prevention, we're operating with offender management program. We're on local prolific offenders, and essentially we'll create a file. It'll be assigned to a member, and we do checks. A big part of the checks is curfew checks, but there's others that see if they're abiding by the conditions of the release order. We had 7 of these files that were opened this quarter. One existing offender management file from the previous quarter was closed due to a breach, so they went away. 11 curfew checks were conducted. 2 search warrants were executed this quarter. The drone was deployed 11 times this quarter. Now the drone, it's pretty cool. We use it in town frequently. We use it out of town. We use it looking for a missing person. We found a person that way. We've also, when there's been a serious offenses, we brought them up in the air in town, and it helped us track them down. And then that doesn't preclude us from bringing in a K9 unit, a police dog service. During this quarter, we've had the police dog service at least 2 or 3 times. We've had the drone, as I said, it was used 11 times. And with the policing in the valley here, we use different other units that we partner with, the emergency response team. When you have a full deployment, that's with the armored vehicle. That hasn't happened in a little while, but we can have 3 or 4 people come and help us execute warrants and that. And we'll have CREST, Crime Reduction Enforcement Team, that belongs to the district. They'll help out. And other units would be like forensics, identification section, major crimes. I'm going to move on to the second one here. It's important to the detachment because it's developing our leadership and training. As you know, that we're fairly junior, and so is many other detachments. And we're also just a little shy of the mark of where we'd like to be staffing wise. This quarter, we've had 8 developmental opportunities, and they would have been like in an acting position either here or someplace else on a secondment. And in total, we've had 12 for this past fiscal year. Internal communications, which is also important, and that's with our clerks, our constables, and even with our guards and matrons. And essentially that we've had 16 this last quarter, and a total of 59 this past fiscal year. And that includes health and safety meetings as well. External communications, this quarter we've had 24. This fiscal year we had 63. Now we're reconciliation, engagement with the Indigenous communities. We've had 4 this quarter. We've had 25 this past fiscal year. And it takes many different forms. It can be an event, it could be a meeting with the chief, it can be a meeting with chief and council. And another one of our priorities that we follow is the enhanced road safety. Impaireds, we've had 16, 46 this fiscal year. Check stops, we only had 1 for this fiscal year. And we used to be more on top of that when we had more people and we had people that were more dedicated towards the traffic, but we still rotate that. And there's traffic enforcement in town and outside of town. Off-road, off-road water education, that's one of our priorities, but we haven't got anything done there as far as presentations, but we hope to partner with one of our cadets, because we have a cadet just arrived from Depot, and we have another member coming in from, I believe it's Russell, and he should be here in a couple months. And we're losing Seb, and he leaves in a few days. Now, under the Highway Traffic Act, this past quarter, including impaired roadside suspension, administrative, anything to do with operation of a conveyance, a vehicle, related to drugs and or alcohol, there was 9. Dangerous driving, drive without due care and attention, imprudent driving and racing, 6. Cell phones, 1. Seatbelts, 1. Speeding, 12. And other, sorry, there was 72. And this fiscal year, as we move into it, we'll have similar priorities, except it's going to be handled a little differently. We'll likely have 4 initiatives, and we'll have 2 projects per initiative. The projects can be anything from safety talks, school talks, if we need to focus on something. It'll also include using other, like CREST and ERT, and doing search warrants. And we had a couple major media releases, one in the town specifically and one outside of the town. And within the town, it was originally looked like it may be a homicide. It was treated as suspicious. And at this point, it's looking less suspicious, meaning that what happened didn't contribute to the death. And I will give you some information, but I don't want to go any further, but you specifically, Your Lordship. And the other one that we had was kind of, it was to do with a fatality with ATV in the rural area. And that took a lot of resources at the time. And then with our shift schedule, as you're aware, it's consolidated. So basically we have rural people working in the town, we have town people working outside. Overall, it's a benefit for the town. You have more boots on the ground. We work together, and that's the way we can manage our high call volume. We can't really separate it, and for the most part it works well. What else is a strength for a detachment right now is, although we're a little short on senior constables, we've got some people that are mid-range that are really developing very well, and they're mentoring, coaching more junior people on that. And I'm about impressed about twice a week by what they do. And part of what they're doing is some of the feedback I get from some of the communities and how they're being treated, and how when there's serious things happening to them or their family, that the way they're communicating and they're listening. And we don't always hear that, because people, when they get angry and things are happening to them, they're lashing out. But sure, nice to hear those other things, and it kind of creates a balance for me, and it's pretty positive. And what else is important for us as Swan River Detachment is our partnerships. As I'm sure that you're well aware, we work with other agencies, we work with CFS. We sit on the Child Abuse Committee, and basically to help keep children safe, and it's basically when they're reviewing the files and whether somebody should be, there should be recommendation that somebody be put on the registry, and then there's a process for that. Then we also have our violent threat risk assessment, and that's with the Swan Valley School Division, and it's usually the high school, but it could be any of the schools when there's a situation with the students that puts them, other students and staff at risk, and there's many different levels, and essentially they can call a VITRA or they can call a full VITRA, and if it's a full VITRA for the violent threat risk assessment, it includes the RCMP. You also have probation there, you have CFS, you have counselors, you have principal, you have teachers. There's usually about 7 or 8 people there, plus you would have the child and the parent or guardian. 2 other things I'm involved with is actually by invitation to town invited me to become part of it. And it's Community Safety and Wellbeing, the CSWB. There are 2 different veins of meetings. One's a community of practice, and one was a plan advisory committee. And then it's been moving along. I think we've had a counselor or 2 sitting on that as well. And essentially that it's a good practice, it's a good communication, and it's you get a chance to hash things out and see if we can get something that works for the valley. Harm reduction, that's been a long time thing, and there's been bumps along the way, but these people aren't going to go away, and yet there's challenges that have to be met. So it's a balancing act. Swan Valley Community Mobilization, that's something that started off a number of years ago, where it was to catch people upstream before they became involved with the police and with the judiciary, and then it morphed into a consent base where they sign waivers and they're signed off for a year, and it's to get them connected to different government agencies, trying to get them back on track, trying to get them employed. And that's very busy, there's lots happening, but there's also a treatment part that we need more of that in the province. And then we have Swan Valley Communities That Care, another partnership with the school division. You're looking at risk factors, you're looking at strengths like safety. In the past it was more based on risk, and now we're sort of morphing more about the positives and what are the safety things, and then capitalize on that. What they do is every couple of years they'll do a survey with the high school kids from grade 8 to 12, I believe. And then it's when they do the survey to look for these factors, they have it professionally analyzed, and they look at the 3 top risk or safety factors, and then see if we can bring in some kind of a training. We've had triple papers positive parenting program. We've had guiding good choices. We had life skills, and then we're looking at a couple others to bring into the area. And you partner with teachers and even the public, and they get trained up, and you have it for 2, 3, or 4 years, and and see what the results are, and try to head off some of the things that would cause issues for our youth, for the community. And now we're pushing really what are the strengths which can help deal with things and help them to cope with certain family lives, certain pressures within the community, and to make better choices. Swan Valley Interagency, another thing that we're involved with. It's an umbrella where you'd have the Friendship Center, the RCMP, Community Care, CMHCA, Harm Reduction, and EIA, and CFS, and it goes on. And basically it's at a time it's really seen we're in silos, we still are a certain way, but bring down those barriers so there's more communication when there's overlap on mandate. And then basically we can have shared resources, and you can share some information and that. Other things you can't, but there's a protocol in place. And then we got the Swan Valley Citizens on Patrol. We have Manitoba's Bozeman Citizens on Patrol. Those are 2 things that we're involved in as well. We get all the reports. I read all of them. Sometimes I send out emails. I might even open up a file, but they know if it's something that's urgent, they'll call in our dispatch, and we'll have a police dispatch to it. But sometimes I'll see something that we're interested in, they don't know about, it could be a person or a vehicle, then that's information that we need. And that gets fanned out within the detachment. Albert Chartrand Friendship Center, My involvement with them has been up and down depending on what things I've been doing, but I'm a member, and I've been a member for many years. And essentially, they're I see it as one of the pillars of the community. They're open to everybody. You don't have to be Indigenous. And they also sponsor a lot of programs. They're very youth-based, very community-based, and they're a very important partner for the RCMP here in Swan River. And then there's the Legion. I mentioned it because I'm a member. I'm not really that involved, but what's really, really important is Remembrance Day. And then have the people out there marching the Red Surge and respect our veterans and basically legionnaires of that and our people that have passed on. And I've had a number of families that served in the different wars over the years as well. That's it for me for my presentation. Do you have any questions or concerns?
All right, well, thank you very much for your report. Any member of council have any questions to the staff sergeant?
David.
Pardon?
Of course, I echo the mayor and thanking you, and I appreciate your commenting on the Albert Charter and Friendship Center. I think they do a lot of wonderful things over there, trying to help their youth. And we definitely need more help from the province. I think, for example, in the case of the RCMP, you guys are doing all you can, I believe, and it's so difficult when we don't have professionals at the other end, be they psychiatrists, psychologists, social workers. That dimension is a dead end for our people who are difficult. Just looking at some of these numbers in the 2025 one, Staff Sergeant Henson.
Yes.
You have one possession of stolen goods, one person possession of stolen goods. Or is that one, does that refer to an individual?
Okay, I have to take a look at that.
2025, and it's at the bottom there, crimes against property, theft under 100, theft under 5,000, and it says crimes against property, possession of stolen goods. One person, and then that one below, crimes against property.
Yes, the thing is, there's going to be a cluster of charges, and that there might have been only one for that, and there might have been an assault as well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have the file in front of me, but I understand why you're questioning it, because there's going to be a lot of this possession of stolen property. And part of the problem too is we get files, and we still get the stat, but people get us involved, but then they don't want to go any further. And unfortunately, and sometimes there's reason for that. Sometimes it's family or friends.
So you're saying people don't want to press charges against these people who have the stolen goods?
Yeah, but this stat here would be because we got the call on it, and crimes property. It could have been a break and enter, and they didn't have the other charge.
Well, I don't like numbers in the first place, but it's a bit of an anomaly when I see one
It is.
and the next one, crimes against persons, assaults, crimes against persons, 51, theft under 5,058. Somebody, I'd ask you to just consider a way to explain that to me anyway, why there's only one, and I'm sure there's a reason for that. And I'm not sure I understood what you're saying.
Yeah.
These guys that have the stolen property, other people doing the break and enters must have stolen property, but yet it says there only one.
I'll check into that.
Okay, thank you. The other question I had, I have two. The schedule, am I to believe that the schedule, there's a time frame in the early hours of the day when nobody is on patrol?
We provide 24-hour policing, but we don't necessarily have boots on the ground 24 hours. And the schedule does change, and essentially that we'll start at a certain time, usually during the day, but we also have an on-call period. And then there's also an on-call period after the night shift as well, and in the morning, and it's before they start. But it's essentially that we do changes in the shift schedule depending upon the manpower, depending on what's coming up. Sometimes it's for a short period of time, sometimes we do the whole shift schedule gets morphed. But we looked at the stats as to when are the calls coming in. And then we want to have the best coverage that way.
I guess my last question sort of evolves from the comments, which I appreciate. When are most of those crimes occurring? The break and enters, for example, which are a concern to me as a councillor, people say they broke in my garage with a car or whatever. Are they coming in between 2 and 6 in the morning, or are they being reported at 7 or 8 in the morning?
Sometimes they're reported 2 or 3 days after the fact, or even a week. And I can't answer that right now without looking. But I can tell you that we do look and we check when do these calls come in. And we also have an analyst that'll go in there and check, and they'll guide us whether we may make some changes or not in our shift schedule or on-call period or whatever. As far as a set time, I don't have it in front of me, but I'll be surprised if there's a set time.
I guess my only last comment would be that in this public meeting where we are right now, I don't think it's fair to announce that we don't have policemen from 7 to 8 in the evening on there, but somehow I'm sure that's a priority of yours, sir, and it seems those rascals are doing the problems, seem to be able to anticipate, if they can or can't, that there might not be a member on patrol from 4 in the morning till 5, so I know you're looking at that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Councillor Bobick.
Just I guess more comment. I mean, quite a few ratepayers have approached me and asked me, just wondering if they could ever see or why they don't see an officer walking down the street meeting with people and just taking a walk through town. You probably understand that about a good yard when you're walking and something happens, you don't have a car. That's the question.
Yeah, it's easier to do that when you're staffed at a higher level, and at one time we were staffed as many as 5 above what our allotment was.
Okay.
And then I remember one time we were 3 years, we were 3 above.
Okay.
But that's going back a ways. But to do with the walking, plus we have bikes, you're not gonna see a ton of it, but there will be some.
Okay.
And I've already had some discussions, and essentially I think the biggest thing at nighttime they're kind of doing it anyways. But it's during the days when you get the effect where the businesses see it, right? And we want to start tracking that. There won't be a ton, but there needs to be some.
Okay.
And it might be me.
Okay.
Amongst others.
Yeah. Uniform's uniform.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And the other thing we're talking about too is that, okay, if you're not backlogged in calls or something, and you're doing follow-up at certain business and it's business hours, maybe just go down for 2 or 3 and talk to some of the business owners and that. So that's kind of the conversations we're having right now, yes.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. It's a good question.
Okay, thank you. Good question. I would like to ask some questions, so I'm going to give the chair to Councillor Powell.
Okay.
On your graphs here, I appreciate the work that has gone into it. I think that it's important for people to know, and this is something that we've been asking for, and I don't think it's new for you to hear this. But if you look at a certain, if you're talking about traffic offenses or maybe more specifically to statute offenses, the graph obviously shows a very large area or crimes for the town of Swan River. But the avenue that I feel that we should report some of these incidents is that the person that actually commits the crime may not necessarily be from Swan River. They could be from any other place, a different postal code or whatever. But because the crime is committed in the town of Swan River, therefore that's how we get the information in the graph. And I know that there's some other municipalities that have been talking about asking for stats and data of where the people are actually from their residences, and to give a good tracking of exactly where the crime is coming from. Now, I'm not asking you to answer that question right now because maybe you can't or maybe you shouldn't, but I want to put that out there, that I feel that that's something that we would like to see at some point in time if it's actually something possible.
Okay, that's interesting. I don't know if we can or can't, but I know where you're coming from too.
Yeah, I know that there is one municipality that has done this because they brought up with us at the AMM. So we
Okay.
can talk about that sometime, but I really feel that it would be nice because then it gives us, I think, more a chance to explain to if it's the province, where our funding is coming from,
Yes.
or or shared funding, or how we come to charging for policing costs in this province to large urban municipalities. So that's just something that we're not going to let go of. I think that we really need to see what the stats truly are. COPP, I know that you're involved with that, and again, I appreciate that. I've asked, and I think you're a member, but how often you have meetings, I'm not too sure, but I would like to be invited to one of the meetings, and not necessarily to be a member, but just kind of oversee it and see how things are going. I like to meet the people there and have a chance to have conversation with them and see how the inner working of CLPP work. So if there's an opportunity to be invited to something like that, I'd appreciate that. You're lucky, I think, so far tonight, but mufflers. When we're often meeting in this room here, we have a lot of loud mufflers. And I know that we've been told in the past, get the ratepayers to phone and hand in that license, but we have a problem with very loud mufflers in town, and I think that we really need to kind of start to target some of that, because it's a little bit ridiculous.
We've been noticing the same, and there's been some conversation, there has been some action, but it's not going to get any less because it's getting warmer. And essentially that, yeah, there's been some active conversation. I just can't broadcast it.
Right. And then lastly, at the AMM, we learned that the RCMP is seeing a surplus of members in some areas. I think maybe they're talking about in Eastern Canada, and they're talking about how they're using those members to start to fill in some of these holes or vacancies in the province of Manitoba.
They're doing that,
I don't know
yes.
if you heard that yet.
Oh, they're already doing it.
They're doing it already?
We're benefiting already.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
And hopefully maybe some of those members will want to stay in Swan River too.
I'm going to be doing my best.
Yeah, okay. And you know what? I always want to reach out to you and point out that we invite any new member that comes to our community to come and meet all of council here. Anytime that you come and do this report and meet all of council, it'd be a great exercise, and I think it would be an opportunity for them to get to meet some of the community people as well.
Yeah,
So
glad you
I
brought
invite
that
you
up.
to do that. Yes. Okay, that was it for me. Anybody else? Oh, yeah, the GIS. The GIS is, we're having a meeting, what's the date of the municipalities having that meeting? I can't remember. Sorry, I put you on the spot there, but we're having a meeting, GIS is coming, but
Yeah. I think Lee and possibly Marcus will be meeting with representative from the town and from the
Yeah.
RMs. As far as I know, there hasn't been a date yet. I don't know.
I can give council that update when I know better. Okay? All right, well, thank you very
Okay.
much, and we will continue on with our meeting, but appreciate you coming in tonight as well.
Thank you very much.
All right. All right, moving down to 6, communications. 6.1, be it resolved that the letter dated April the 1st, 2025, regarding the town of Swan River's Manitoba GRO applications from the province of Manitoba, the province of Manitoba Municipal Relations Department be received. Moved by Councillor Whyte, seconded by Councillor Bobick. Any discussion? Councillor Whyte?
How will that impact us? And how much money did you apply for?
Okay, so I think that we had applied for 2, we were allowed to apply for 2, and Mr. Harvey applied for one of his projects, and I believe one was for Director Clausen as well. The number, I don't know specifically, but Mr. Harvey, maybe you can say what you didn't receive and how much it was.
For the road paving one, I applied for a $180,000 project. I applied for 90 grand, 50%. That was for paving. It's not going to be done this year anyways, so we're going to keep an eye out for grants next year to apply for it. And the arena, I don't have the dollar values that would apply for that one.
And I will say further to that, I did speak with the Municipal Relations last week on the GRO, and I kind of gave him a hard time about not getting any of the grants, and his response to me was apply in the next intake. So with that, with all grants, as I was telling the CAO, administration always has to be ready and to go for applying for grants. and be prepared. So the GRO will come again, another intake will come, and we'll have an opportunity to bid on that or apply on that as well.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? All in favor? It's carried. 6.2, be it resolved that the letter dated April the 4th, 2025 regarding the recycling rebate for the Minister of Environment and Climate Change be received.
Is he there?
Should be.
That was him, maybe.
Moved by Councillor Whyte, seconded by Councillor Bobick. Perhaps maybe that guy wanted to move the resolution, and that was its way. Discussion. This is kind of an annual thing. All in favor? It's carried. 6.3, be it resolved, the letter dated March 24th, 2024, from the Association of Manitoba Municipalities, thanking Mayor Lance Jacobson and district directors for meeting with them, be received. Moved by Councillor Powell, seconded by Councillor Whyte. Any discussion? All in favor? It's carried. 6.4, be it resolved that the letter dated April the 10th, 2025 to Greg and Charlotte Sauter regarding the use of the Legion Park for National Red Dress Day be received. Moved by Councillor Powell, seconded by Councillor Whyte. Discussion? All in favor? It's carried. 6.5, be it resolved that the Swan Valley Regional Initiative for a Strong Economy financial statements for the year ended December 31st, 2023 as requested by Resolution 2024-0635 be received. Moved by Councillor Powell, seconded by Councillor Whyte. Discussion? Councillor Whyte.
I've lost it on my computer. Is that the one where we had $90,000 for Thompson and the Flin Flon trip?
No.
Then I'll just hold my comments.
Further discussion? All in favor? It's carried. Six point six. Be it resolved the Swan Valley Regional Initiative for a Strong Economy budget for 2024 as requested by Resolution 2024-0635 be received. Moved by Councillor Bobick, seconded by Councillor Powell. Discussion? These are all items that obviously we needed to have in order to finish our audit for 2024.
Is RISE,
Go ahead.
is RISE responsible for arranging the trip to Thompson and/or Flin Flon for the promotion, or is that the chamber?
No, it was RISE that was talking about, but RISE has not meant to have that discussion if that's something that's going to be carried out. It was discussed in last year, but
Yeah.
not for this year. At least we have not met anyway.
So did it not happen then last year?
No,
Okay.
we didn't have anybody to go.
Pardon me?
We didn't have anybody to go.
Okay. Thank you.
Any further discussion? All in favor? It's carried. 6.7, be it resolved that the building and demolition permits 5/25 through 8/25 with a total estimated value of $476,786 be received. Moved by mover, Councillor Powell, seconded by Councillor Whyte. Discussion? All in favor? It's carried. 7.1. Be it resolved that the Director of Public Works report be received. Moved by Councillor Bobick, seconded by Councillor Powell. Discussion? No questions? Councillor Bobick.
I just was in and talked to Director Harvey this afternoon just to mention, just for council's awareness about we'll probably be looking at getting hold of highways about the lines on Main Street there. They're very poor, so if we can get jump the hoops and get right on the first of it, would be really good. So that'll be on the agenda.
Okay, thank you. Good thinking. All in favor? It's carried. 7.2, be it resolved that the March 2025 Swan River Handy Transit Van report be received. Moved by Councillor Whyte, seconded by Councillor Powell. Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? It's carried. Be it resolved that the Citizens on Patrol Program report as requested by Resolution 2025-0119 be received. Moved by Councillor Whyte, seconded by Councillor Bobick. Discussion? Councillor Whyte.
Yeah, firstly, I appreciate getting the report, and there's wonderful information there, and it's a positive venture, and good things are happening. Somehow, one of the questions that I believe we'd asked in that COPT report were the number of participants now as opposed to a year ago. Like, to say I'd be ecstatic if it's now to 10. That certainly wasn't alluded to at all. I'd be interested to find out if there is such an answer. The number of tours they do of the town, of the community, they once a day, once a month. It obviously depends on volunteers. And how are things going with membership? And they alluded to very general terms in that report. They didn't talk specifically, in my mind, about our community as a whole, and I believe we have made that request. The last part of that, I'm sure there's an answer. Chamber of Commerce or RISE own a vehicle, patrol vehicle, lights on the top and everything, and I'm not sure why COPP isn't making use of that rather than have private citizens use their own vehicles. And it's showing the flag. It seems to be a concept that is more important. They see a car go by, they don't even know if it's RISE or COPP or whomever, but if it's that car patrol vehicle goes by, I think that would be better for everybody. That's it for me, thank you.
Anything further? Councillor Bowles.
I just kind of echo, my thoughts are that I used to see COPP out, I see them in stores, I don't see nothing anymore. I guess it just gives the citizens a little bit of reassurance if you know that they're out there, but I haven't, and again, it could be just me, but I haven't seen much of anything, so to make their presence known would be greatly appreciated.
Yeah, that's kind of really the reason why I was asking the question that I did, so. All right, anything further? All in favor? It's carried. 7.4, we have council reports. We'll start with Councillor Whyte.
Relatively busy. I had the pleasure of attending with Deputy Mayor Moriaux the new Wissquisipic oil change quick lube establishment. It's neat, it's clean, it's modern, it's up to date. They've got some great young men and women working there, and a compliment to Wissquisipic that they develop in our community, which will bring people here to buy things, buy gasoline in town, and I think it's a wonderful facility. And then that was April 9. April 9, I also had the Community Safety and Well-Being meeting, which was partnered with Immigrant Services that evening, and they talked about, it was more trying to find out what was good about the Swan Valley, what were the areas of opportunity in the Swan Valley. And one of the comments of the people who were doing the information searching from Winnipeg, I believe, they couldn't get over how many good things that there's about 20 of us there said about the valley. It's not perfect, but there's a lot of wonderful things there, and they were very impressed with that comment. On April 10th, I had another immigrant service meeting. One of the staff is leaving, and we'll miss that person working for the co-op, so they're staying here. April the 10th, I also had an urban forest meeting. I want to thank Darren, Harvey publicly for being part of that, and all the information and the help you give us. Two of the main topics were invasive species. They're going to do some protocols to educate us, and the Arbor Day activity, which is going to be May the 21st, where we're going to be putting 54 some trees planting, I recall, and we'll get the kids from the school to help out, maybe do a little information booth at that same time. And also in April, I had the pleasure of attending the announcement of the Sapatuea brand new 76-unit hotel with the conference chambers and pool. And our council, Town of Swan Valley, Town of Swan River Council, and Chief Gnaida's council, and it's pretty exciting. A 76-unit conference center, that's going to attract people to our community. And I want to thank the community of Sapatuea for partnering with us, the rest of them. But it's a good deal all around. That's it, thank you.
All right, thank you. Councillor Bobick.
Thank you, Your Worship. Not too much, just looking after the town, we'll use her all the way. Just mentioned the traffic lines, I think that's something we need to get on. Or worked the last time we make up, but just hopefully they don't use watercolors this year. They don't seem to last very long anymore, but I don't know. Anyway, so I spoke with Director Harvey on the backhoe, had a good conversation. I think we're on the right track for the pick of that. That'll come up later. Just when you speak of AMM, I just think council should take into consideration in the spring convention, which there is more trades there, that some of these employees of ours should be going to these for one day to meet these people that they deal with all the time. It's important to do face-to-face, like I would say Director Harvey and maybe one from the public works should be allowed to go one day and meet some of the representatives that they deal with these companies all the time. It's important that for years you can be on the phone for somebody and you've never met them face to face, so I think that'll come up towards spring a little more. Watershed, tomorrow night will be with project setting. Board will be meeting to set projects that we have on the table right now and prioritizing. We also have a new technician started today, a local young lady that just finished university, so she's going to have a job here in the valley, so that's good news for us. Just with the announcement of the hotel, had lots of positive comments over that. It's good for the valley just to use watershed as an example. There's 14 watersheds in the province of Manitoba, and everyone takes a turn having a convention, but we can't have one because we don't have enough hotel rooms in the Swan River Valley. So with this in the near future, we could be developing a convention. So other than that, that's it. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Councillor Powell.
Okay, I guess just to reiterate everybody, on the Sapatuea announcement with Chief tonight, I think I've had nothing but great response and people saying how wonderful this is for our community, and we can't thank them enough for investing in our community here. AMM conference we attended, opened up with a really huge eye-opener with Tyler Smith, who was a humble Broncos survivor. Gave us an amazing outlook to mental health and resilience. A huge thank you to the MM for bringing him and reflecting on the importance of this issue. Wednesday, I joined the Women in Municipal Government lunch hosted by President Kathy Valentino and guest Bernadette Smith. I guess a huge takeaway from that was women in municipal government, and having just maybe an advocate or learning a little bit more about municipal government when you first get into politics of that way. I think that was pretty much a huge takeaway from all of our circle table talk, is that just having the policies and having a little bit better understanding. And I know there is, this is something that's planning on being worked on. We all took part in different breakout sessions that proved to be very valuable information for all of us. I think we all learned a little bit of something for Swan River to kind of take away from. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. For me, the last couple of weeks have been very busy. We had our vet board meeting, and we had set our budget, as you'll see later in our agenda. But the levy for the town of Swan River and all the other municipalities is going to be the same. Some challenges that we have is some building problems with the building where we need to do some updates and take care of some leaking of water when we have different snow loads. So anyway, that's something that the board will be dealing with. But overall, the vet clinic is running well. We have very capable staff there. And I couldn't believe how far these people travel to take care of, in particular, large animals. Most people bring their small animals into the clinic, but they're going a long ways to deal with large animals because there's just not enough of these vets in and around the province, including in Saskatchewan. So these guys are going in a lot of different places in different directions. So thank you to them. I also had a meeting with Swan Valley Health Facilities Foundation, and we have, I guess, the final payment for the CT scanners is complete, and the public funds into that reserve account that we had spoke about. Just a reminder to everybody is starting on April the 28th to May the 4th is the Smile Cookie program fundraiser through Tim Hortons locally. And this year, the funds will be going directly for equipment for our pediatrics. So I encourage you to get out there and buy some cookies and support Smile Cookie, which will benefit our community and Swan Valley Health Facilities Foundation. AMM, yeah, Councillor Powell mentioned it about the young man, Tyler. And you did a way better job than I could of explaining that. And yeah, it was a very good presentation that he had done. I can't imagine what the poor young guy's life has been and his family. It just made me think about that. Very strong individual. In fact, won Amazing Race Canada with his fiance. So amazing, and it just goes to show that you just don't give up. You keep on going, right? So, with all the adversity that we have to live with. During the AMM's mayors and reeves and CAOs, the CEO and I was able to attend that. Some takeaways out of that, obviously they talked about the GRO Manitoba. They made some big announcements for some municipalities, and we were not one of them, which I was kind of upset about. So I did go over and speak to our good friend Mike Kelly, and he just reassured me and said, keep applying, so, because there's, not a lot of money to go around, as we know. In our June district meeting for Parkland, in June, they will be reviewing Code of Conduct. Code of Conduct is under the microscope right now just because of some of the issues that have plagued some of the municipalities, so they want to re-evaluate that. MTI made a presentation, and they talked about some of the trade routes that we have. Highway 10 obviously is a trade route that spans across most of the province right up to Flin Flon, but Highway 83 is not a trade route, and I was kind of disappointed about that. They call it more of a commerce highway, so I thought that it should be a trade route, but that's something that we could talk with the minister sometime if we have any feelings on that. MTI has actually cut one region from the province. Parkland has now been molded into a new region called Parkland Interlake. So our region actually has gotten bigger, and which they will still run the headquarters out of Dauphin, which of course we have our own liaison, but again, I don't know how well that is because of some of the issues that we've had in the past. Snow clearing agreement, we talked about that and how they have standardized that, as we know, but it's an agreement that we need to sign every year. So that standardized snow removal agreement has to be signed every year. They talked about the problems with municipalities and the anti-government and the anti-hate in one of the breakout sessions that I attended, and there's a lot of it. And so they talked a lot about how municipal councillors are on the forefront of getting a lot of heat and threats from ratepayers, from groups, and so forth. So you would have seen an email that came from the AMM, and they're doing a survey, and I would ask you each to fill out that survey. It's confidential, and you can kind of give them your examples of how anti-government or hate has affected you. One example, they had the planning district from down near Winnipeg in the greater Winnipeg area. I can't remember exactly the area they call it, but I'll just call it that for now. But anyway, they had a bunch of councillors and committee people, and they had this meeting, and they ended up having to, it got to be so bad that they had to remove them and put them in a safe place, including the city of Winnipeg mayor, because it was too dangerous for them. So there's a lot of stuff happening out there that this group with the University of Manitoba wants to get some of this information through the survey and find out exactly what we need to do about this. Same thing with me with Sapatoya Cree Nation. I was able to attend that and speak on behalf of the town with Chief Janai. And Chief Janai is obviously has become a good friend of ours at the same time as a partner, and we continue to grow that relationship. With Squeezipik First Nation, their modern new oil change facility, I thank Councillor Whyte and the Deputy Mayor, David Moriaux, to attend that. I know it was a good event, and we wish them all the best with their new building. And of course, I congratulate Chief Sastry on his re-election last week, and his council, and we look forward to continuing to work with their First Nation. I think I covered it all. I probably forgot something, but anyway. Smile Cookie, support it. So anyway, with that, I will go with Mr. Tewnion with his report.
Thanks, Your Worship. I believe everybody saw the report, so I won't rehash it. Just a couple things I wanted to add. If I could please, I'm just awaiting the June 23rd date for the G4. I've heard from 3 councillors. I'm just awaiting response from 2. If you could, at your convenience, please. Your Worship, the GRO Fund application, just for your awareness, I did provide some direction to our 2 directors, just as a reminder to keep an eye out so we can reapply at the second. As you mentioned, we've also established a system, myself and the executive assistant, in regards to monitoring, so that we have an extra set of eyes in case there are any events that come out, so we're missing it. And also the survey you mentioned, it's dear to me as much as it is to you.
Yeah.
I've sent it out to the directors, encouraged for all staff, and I think I sent her a reminder to the mayor and council today as well. And that's it, subject to any questions from my report, maybe.
Okay, any questions on the report? Councillor Whyte.
First, thank you. That's pretty thorough, very thorough. I see you met with Randy Taylor and talked about the refund there, the proposal. Are you able to give us a general thought?
Well, just for clarity, that was my first opportunity to be briefed on the entire project.
Okay.
So I don't really have anything else that you know, it's just that I'm now up to speed on everything that's happening.
Perfect, no problem.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's exactly right, thank you. All right, so then if there's no questions, we shall move on. So 8.1, be it resolved that Councillor Tanya Powell replace Mayor Lance Jacobson as the representative for the Chamber of Commerce, and be it further resolved that Councillor Duane Whyte temporarily replace Councillor Medwid as a representative for the communities that care until Councillor Medwid returns from leave. Moved by, seconded by Councillor Powell. All in favor, or discussion, sorry, go ahead. All in favor? It's carried.
Your Worship.
Sorry,
Mover on that one, Councillor Bobick.
Councillor Bobick
Okay.
and Powell.
Okay.
8.2. Whereas invasive species can result in loss of Manitoba's unique ecosystems and native species, and whereas the activities of people are most often responsible for the introduction of species to a new area, and whereas preventing the introduction of invasive species to a new area is the most effective way to manage it, and whereas increasing awareness of the threats of invasive species will help prevent the introduction and the spread of invasive species. Therefore, be it resolved that the town of Swan River proclaim April 20th to April 26th as Invasive Species Awareness Week. Moved by Councillor Whyte, seconded by Councillor Bobick. Discussion? All in favor? You want?
Just a brief one. Director Harvey brought that literature to the Urban Forest Committee, and if we're appreciative of that, we talked about it, and I think there's going to be some sort of protocol at the Arbor Day, May Day activity where we might have some information on invasive species. So the Urban Forest Committee, we're pleased to get that information from you, sir.
Okay, further discussion? All in favor? It's carried. What happened there? TV go out? .3, be it resolved that the Public Works includes Spruce Street between 9th Avenue South and 10th Avenue South and upcoming paving initiatives for the town of Swan River. Moved by Councillor Powell, seconded by Councillor Whyte. Discussion? Go ahead.
Reading the literature, I see no reason why we're not responsible for putting the paving on that street. I appreciate those of you who did the due diligence to track it out, track it down, that in fact had paid for it. It was under a different category apparently in the books.
Okay, perfect. All in favor? It's carried. 8.4. Be it resolved that the town of Swan River purchase a John Deere 320P loader backhoe from Brant for $169,465 plus applicable taxes. Moved by Councillor Bobick, seconded by Councillor Whyte. Discussion?
Just one question. The trade-in value for the three companies on our piece of equipment, were they all pretty close?
I think there's one that was around 50,000 and quite a few that are around 80 to 85,000.
Okay, thank you.
Further discussion? All in favor? It's carried. 8.5. Be it resolved that the Swan Valley Veterinarian Services District budget for 2025 be received. Moved by Councillor Powell, seconded by Councillor Bobick. Discussion? Go ahead.
Was there been any changes in their budget?
No, there was not. As far as the levy goes, no, it's the same. And as far as expensive goes, there's some nominal increases in there, but there will be some that we're, like I said, we're dealing with some building and structural issues with the roof and all that will have some cost. But we do have money sitting in accounts that will allow us to do these repairs. But it might have effect on us in 2026. We'll see how we do.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Further discussion? All in favor? It's carried. 9.1. Be it resolved that the policy 1/2025 being a policy of the town of Swan River to facilitate consistent use of a treaty land acknowledgement be approved. Moved by Councillor Powell, seconded by Councillor Whyte. Discussion? All in favor? It's carried. 10.1. Whereas Section 365(2) of the Municipal Act provides that Council may in any year designate the immediately preceding year or any earlier year as the year for which properties, the taxes in respect of which are in arrears for the year, must be offered by sale by auction to recover the tax arrears and costs. And whereas Sections 372 of the Municipal Act provides that a municipality may set any terms or conditions for the sale of a property to be sold for taxes and may set a reserve bid in the amount of the tax arrears and cost in respect of the property. Be it resolved that the town of Swan River place a reserve bid on each property included in the 2025 tax sale in the amount of tax arrears and costs owing in respect of the property. Moved by Councillor Whyte, seconded by Councillor Bobick. Discussion? Go ahead.
So we put a reserve bid on it for the cost that the town has incurred on this piece of property. Can we accept a lower price?
The reserve bid, my assumption is that the reserve bid is the lowest, right?
Yeah.
But I don't want to really answer that question, so I would defer either to the CO or to the CFO.
I'm confident the answer is reserve bid is the lowest, but CFO, can you confirm that, please?
Confirmed.
Okay. Go ahead.
So I guess my question is, we have property in town that there's been large amounts of money spent on cleaning it up, and I don't think you'll ever get that money out of anybody to pay for that property. So is it gonna sit there vacant for years, or does the council make a decision that maybe we should let it go for cheaper than what's on?
Well, before I let Mr. Harvey answer, my thought for that is that if somebody comes and makes an offer on the property, we sell it at the time. Council will choose however they want to sell it. It just means that we're going to be the owners of it at that minimum, or that bid that we have reserved.
So
Mr. Harvey.
outside the auction.
Yeah, Mr. Harvey.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. This is just for the auction.
Okay, thank you.
Further discussion? All in favor? It's carried. 10.2. Be it resolved that the moving expenses incurred on February the 28th, 2025 in the amount of $9,675.04 per attached Schedule A be reimbursed to the employee. Moved by Councillor Bobick, second by Councillor Powell. Discussion? All in favor? It's carried. 10.3. Be it resolved that the following accounts as being approved for payment. General accounts checks number 32694 to number 32764 totaling $231,450.74 as listed on Schedule A. Direct deposit payments totaling $660 as listed on Schedule B, and direct deposit payments totaling $3,661.95 as listed on Schedule C. Moved by Councillor Bobick, seconded by Councillor Whyte. Discussion? All in favor? It's carried. 10.4. Be it resolved that the Swan Valley Veterinarian Services District 2025 municipal contribution in the amount of $7,204.50 be approved for payment once the 2024 financial statements have been received. Moved by Councillor Powell, seconded by Councillor Whyte. Discussion? All in favor? It's carried. 10.5. Be it resolved that the following accounts be received. Payroll accounts checks number P5550 to number P5553 and direct deposit payments totaling $113,692.81 as listed on Schedule A. Direct deposit payments totaling $39,397.02 as listed on Schedule B. Moved by Councillor Powell, seconded by Councillor Bobick. Discussion? All in favor? It's carried. 10.6. Be it resolved that the Swan Valley Fire Board 2025 levy of $232,703.51 be approved for payment once the audited financial statements for the year ended December 31st, 2024 have been received. Moved by Councillor Bobick, seconded by Councillor Whyte. Discussion? Councillor Bobick?
Just the same as the year before?
I knew you were going to ask that question. the deputy mayor is better on this one than me. I don't think so, but maybe CFO Gnida can answer that. I can't remember exactly.
CFO
I
Gnida.
believe it's approximately a $20,000 increase.
So I guess my question is, what is the increase?
I can't answer that because I don't have that in front of me here right now, and the deputy's not here to answer that question either. But I can ask him for you. To assume, which I don't want to do that, but I would think that there is costs of employee and a few
Yeah.
other things that obviously increase, but I think the board has done a really good job of making sure that we levied as little as we needed to do and ran as well as we can.
So if I can, so on the fire board now, is there, can the fire chiefs, what's their purchasing agreements? And so I'm not, that's happening, but I'm just saying, what do they have? So much before they have to go to the board before they can spend?
Yeah, there's a policy.
Okay,
Yeah.
fine, thank you.
Go ahead.
If it might help, your worship, I know that there was a resolution on January 7th to approve this amount.
Yes.
So maybe that answer was back there, but this was a matter of putting on record that once we do the financial statements.
That's right. Yeah.
So,
All right. Any further discussion? All in favor? It's carried. 11.1. Be it resolved that the bylaw number 6, 2025, being the bylaw to establish an accommodation tax reserve fund, be read a second time. Moved by Councillor Bobick, seconded by Councillor Powell. Discussion? Councillor Bobick.
And that's what it's gonna be called, accommodation tax reserve fund?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, until there's a third reading, of course. This is only the second reading. So
Yeah.
if it was passed, then yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can't make no assumptions at
Okay,
all. Any further discussion? Councillor Whyte.
I'm not sure I'm gonna go, that I like public safety in there. I was of the opinion it was going to go to recreation and active living, which are items that bring people to our town, but if we don't have good public safety, they won't come anyway, so it's a catch-22 for me.
Okay, and again, because it's the second reading, at your next COW meeting, you can have that conversation. If
Thank
council
you.
feels that they want to make any changes to that, that's your opportunity before the third reading.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? All in favor? It's carried. We have nothing, no motion, we don't even have an in-camera session tonight. So we will go with members' privilege. Councillor Bobick.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll just go from the bottom up here. Well, I should have mentioned it before. Just to make everybody aware, I've been talking with the contractor that's supposed to be putting the card lock in out at the airport, and he's saying beginning of May now. So kind of get in touch with him every week, every 2 weeks. But after that, I'll probably take that to the airport commissioner. Get a little closer. Smile cookies. Am I not to be said that this will be $100,000 they're hoping for this year since it started?
That's
So
the target.
hats off to Tim
Yes.
Hortons
Yeah.
for that. I think that's $100,000 that they brought into this community and donated to.
The
Who
Swan
knows
Valley
that?
Health Facilities Foundation,
Yes.
and a lot of different initiatives.
Yes, kudos to them.
Absolutely.
When we speak of harm reduction, I don't know who you contact or where you go with this, but I really think somebody should look at our snow dumping sites. That I would imagine if there's needles laying around, they've got transported over there.
Never thought about that.
So we've got a few days yet where it's all melted down. So,
we have our public works folks checking it out.
Yeah, and if they see any needles, then they're to call that number, not pick it up
Perfect.
themselves.
Okay, thank you. And also just speaking with Mr. Harvey today, we're gonna try, him and I, we're gonna try and get a transportation meeting. I know Council Powell is busy, but all we're really doing is just trying to get an agenda of what work's gonna be done this year, so council can see through transportation, this is gonna be done, so we'll let you know. Other than that, we had a great Easter at our house. We had lots of our family home, lots of our grandchildren, and one very special great-grandchildren, so it was really nice. We had all the way from New Brunswick, so it was nice, really good, so thank you.
Nice. On the needle thing that you're mentioning, and if administration or our public works people find any needles, it would be probably a good idea to report that information back to council as you have those numbers. Councillor Powell.
Okay, just a couple notes. Just thanks to Sabatoyak and their health department for putting on a great weekend of hockey at the arena a couple weekends ago. Lots of people in attendance and a great tournament. A great, they really put on well organized. They look after the arena very well and very, very nice. Another note as to the arena is this weekend is Corporate Challenge, and this will be the final weekend for our arena. After this, the ice goes out, and I guess we mentioned lots about the vet board and vet services this evening. Just a huge thank you to our vets here, our veterinary clinic here. They go above and beyond to look after our community, our farmers, everything. I just really, really wanted to say it's a service that is very, 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 very appreciated, and we have to be very thankful that we have this in our community here. And so, yeah.
I'll pass that on. Thank you. Is that everything?
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ms. Whyte.
Well, tongue in cheek, when you talk about Tim Hortons raising $100,000, which we all buy the cookies, but I think it added about 5 pounds to my body mass, so I'm not sure about that. Regardless, I had a phone call, I got waved down on the road by one of our bosses, a constituent, said, please give Director Harvey and CEO Tewnion her comments, and it's specifically to our street cleaners, who she was walking down the street, and the guy stopped till she walked by because the dust was blowing and flowing. As soon as she got a good distance, he started up again. And she was very appreciative, so please let your team know that that's the kind of stuff that the people appreciate and they see. So that's all good. Swan Valley Sport Fish Dinner is May the 3rd. Tickets are just very quickly. I want to welcome Ryan Benisworth to our team. He's a new lead hand and the EMO representative too, I believe is fair to say. So I'm looking forward to working with Ryan. I think he's an honorable young man. And on this Friday, hopefully Mayor Jacobson and myself and the other members of the Medical Service Committee will be meeting with Trina Slate. And Trina is the CEO of Prairie Mountain Health with 6,000 employees, a $500 million budget, whatever. And our job is to talk to her about areas of opportunity and some concerns we may have. For example, very recently, the PMH had a passport to health services in the Swan River Valley. The medical service team was not invited. And I think we're a service and that we can help to provide funding or direction. So that kind of concern, that shouldn't be happening. We're needing some help from her relative to identifying northern rural doctors who are just graduating. So we're worried about that. And where do we find up to there? It appears we need more staff for the CT scan because just the 2 ladies working there now, so they can't be on the weekends as a possibility. The needle deposit containers, recipients, receptacles. The hospital staff met with me quietly, and there's one right in front of the hospital, and they're not excited about that. Our committee might be prepared to say, if you want a needle, give us a dirty needle. So hypothetically, that should stop the issue of needles around, but I'm not sure what the barrier is there, but we're going to talk about that. Exit interviews, doctors are leaving, have left. And I talked to a young doctor in a meeting here the other day, and he said nobody talked to him when he left. So, well, what's the theme? I don't even know what the perspective of the specific doctor, but there must be some themes of what would keep them there. Support for addicts. We don't have any support right now. We just give them needles in warm places, and I heard for them, but we need extended supports. And that's about it for now. It should be an interesting meeting. We'll be zooming it from the office right here. Noon on Friday, I think, Your Worship.
You called it. For myself, over my, one of the things I missed in my report, my first report was the economic development that is really important in communities, and we know that. We've talked about this around this table for a very long time. And there's a team there from, it's called Economic Development Association of Manitoba, and they've been trying to kind of break into municipalities and have some training, and councillors should take some of this training and understand the importance of economic development. And so this is something that I'm going to invite her to come up to perhaps maybe one of our G4 meetings and have this discussion, because I think it's important, and we need to look at the importance of economic development and what it might mean in our communities, because I think we're kind of missing the boat a little bit on some of that right now. One thing that I'm kind of excited to see, and it's coming, we're working, it's kind of working its way through after a lot of conversations over the last year, but is the Legion crosswalk that we'll have for Remembrance Day. So we're working on that with some stencils or whatever that we're going to have that's going to commemorate our veterans. And I know that Mr. Harvey, and I know that the veterans group or Legion is working with him on that. So I'm looking forward to seeing what that looks like and where this will be. But there's been a lot of thought going into this, and I think it's going to be pretty exciting to have this and commemorate that special event. The other thing that I wanted to talk about was, in the last, however long it's been, a year and a half, talking about needles, and there's a lot of stuff that gets sprung around social media, and we're all been part of that, and not necessarily to be negative to the people that are the users and all that, but in my mind, and it's my own personal opinion about the direction that the government is going with this, and I'm opposed to it, and I made that very clear, and I have said that in social media posts and all that, and I have been horribly wrong, but I make my point, and I've been respectful to the minister and the government, and have told them time and time again that I just don't like this. And with needles that are littered around our town, when I hear people finding them if it's in parks and playgrounds or playing alongside the river in long grass, and then here today I heard that an employee in a restaurant here, just a couple doors down, his employee was cleaning in a bank, and she picked up a jacket and she was poked with a needle, and now she's on medication so that she doesn't get sick. And all those things, this is what we do not want. We don't want our adults, we don't want working force, and we do not want children to be put in harm's way. And I really believe that this has been a huge safety issue, and I believe that the way it is right now it's not working. And when we talk about, we have employees going where our snow dumps are and looking for needles, or we have individuals in the public going and picking up needles, I can't believe it. And then on top of that, when I hear the government officials tell me that I should not post this sort of thing on social media because it's wrong, that I should do that as my role, I post that not on the town of Swan River's website, I do it on my own personal. And I am the mayor, but it is my personal opinion, and I don't think a member of the government should be telling me what I can and cannot do. So anyway, I just want to set the record straight, and I know that there are some people in the community that feel that I shouldn't. There's a small minority that have told other people that, but I say that if they have a problem with me and what I've said, then they can come and talk to me, because I have far more people that have told me that straight to my face than the people that have chose to hide behind something else. So anyway, I'll leave it at that for now. CEO Tewnion.
Not much, Your Worship, just thanks again for the continued support of of mayor and council as I continue on this adventure, and certainly in support of the employees I have the honor of working with as well has made it much easier for me to transition into this role. What I didn't mention today, hot off the presses, I had the pleasure of meeting with Chief Sastry today with the team, including Director Harvey, just to address an ongoing issue that's was resolved through a meaningful and respectful discussion, and I want to thank Chief Sastry for that. And other than that, I don't really have much else.
Sure. Thank you. Director Harvey.
Gymnastics provincials were just over a week ago. It was cool to see all the gymnasts, all the hard work they'd put in, and it really showed with their routines. And speaking of economic development, the hotels were booked up for that event. Lots of people from Winnipeg up for that. And then I attended mass registration, and just a general thanks to all the volunteers in the community. There's baseball, swimming, soccer, and there's all take coaches and organizers and a lot of hours, and it's definitely appreciated.
Okay, thank you. Glad that the event went really well, so, yeah, good. I think probably the first one.
I can't remember when they last had provincials here. I think it's every 5 years they have
Okay.
an opportunity to
Yeah,
have
I
it.
see. Well, good for them. Thank their whole organizers and people that have put on that. That's a big job, and we all know what that's about.
Just one more thing, Your Worship, our ever diligent CFO Gnida got back to us, and it's the Swan Valley Fire Board levy was an increase of $5,590. He apologized for overestimating, explained why, and their operating expenditures increased by $8,350.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. CFO Gnida, anything for you tonight?
I just, again, repeating that I apologize for giving a figure off the top of my head. I should have looked it up first.
No.
But I believe the Deputy Mayor Moriaux explained that the town of Swan River's assessment went up more than Swan Valley West. So the town of Swan River's required contribution to the fire board went up, and Swan Valley West went down.
You're right, and I thought that, but I didn't want to say it because I couldn't say it exactly that way, but you're right. Yeah. All right. Well, then that shall be it. Be it resolved, this regular meeting of council now be adjourned at 8:22 p.m. Moved by Councillor Powell, seconded by Councillor Bobick. All in favor? It's carried. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.